Go ahead, slide it off. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Lifted it up, dude. That's crazy. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. All right, so we are here today on this job. You can tell by the title of the video, we are here to hydro-frack this well. I know absolutely nothing about it. We just cambered the well down to about 150 foot. Made sure we had a smooth spot for 2 different packer settings if we choose to set the packer twice. We'll, I think we got 65 foot of casing. So my rule of thumb is always set your packer minimum 20 feet beyond your casing. So we're gonna set the first one at 85 foot. But before we do that, we have to get the pump out of the well. Well, it's dry right now, which makes the pump system extremely heavy. So Mike's about to bring the water truck over here. We're gonna park it in the neighbor's driveway. We're gonna artificially fill the well with water from the water truck. That should allow the pump system to become lightweight, and then we can pull it out by hand. So that's what we're working on doing now. All right, while we let the well fill with water, I want to come up here. I had one of my subscribers, I think his name is Dan. He was asking what type of pump we had on this thing. I sent him basically a link to a pump from Wheatley, the one that I thought that we were using, and it is exactly the one we're using. It's a P323, and the max working pressure is 3,260 psi, and I guess the max flow rate for this unit is 100 gallons a minute. If you had a 2.5 inch discharge, which we don't. So I think we have like an 1.5 inch discharge, which it can provide 36 gallons a minute at 2,695 psi. But we don't ever wrap it out to that speed anyways. But it's pretty like good mix of a pump. It'll build high pressure and it'll flow high volume. And I think that's what you want with a frac truck. I think you want to at least be able to build 2,500 psi. Okay, now we're just kind of in a waiting game. I think the well's completely dry. It's almost up. You can shut it off, Mike. Go ahead and crack the hose. Crack the thing on it to where it'll drain the hose out. Disconnect the end of it, I mean. Yeah, just pull it off. Hold it right there. It'll all drain down the hole. All right. Sugar, sugar. Money, money. All right. Let's pull this pump out. So we pulled the pump out so far, we ran out of room to pull it. It's a drop off. Okay. I'll go back up the hill. New pipe. Yeah, look, there's blue rope tied around it there. Probably broke. They didn't have any to extend it. They taped it pretty nice. I'll have to inspect the wire. Oh, look at this. They extended the system and put a check valve in it right here. Yep. I felt it come over the wheels. I thought it was a hole centering ring, but it wasn't. Good golly, Miss Molly. So it was probably a 300 foot system, and they extended it another, 100 feet or 60 feet or whatever the length of that upper section was. Because the head of the system is downhill, it's sucking all the water out of it. Oh, okay. That is a big, big, big pump. Yeah. They say 1 horsepower. Yeah, that's what they said it was. Yeah. It's a big 3200 series with a plastic head on it. 5 gallon a minute pump. I mean, that's normal. Yeah. That's normal. Yeah, it's sucking the air and the water through it. Okay. Alright. Well, we're good with that. Next thing we gotta do, the frack is gonna come in right here. So I need to flop this wire and pipes and stuff out of the way. And check this out, y'all. They had put another splice down near the pump. Looks like they probably had a pipe failure at one time, and it probably blew out there. Somebody fixed it by putting in a brass pipe inline. Okie dokie. Let's get the frack in here. Take the wheels off. Well, we got in there. That's pretty cool. It's a tight fit between all these trees. Let's see. I've got about 1.5 feet here. I've got about 10 inches back there on that side. And I got about 2 foot on this side. So it's a tight squeeze. All right, if you've never seen it before, it's 4,000 PSI hydraulic hose. And then this is the packer. So this piece is rubber. It swells up, goes down into the rock portion of the well, swells against the side walls of the well, and then we flow high pressure water through the center of it, down below it, and that's what flushes the veins out. So now we're gonna send this down to 85 foot. All right, now that the packer's in the hole, we have to flood the system to get all the air bubbles out, because air can compress, water cannot. So we want to be able to use the liquid, the water, basically as a solid push against the veins of the well. So that's the importance of getting all the air out, so you don't sit there and pressurize a pocket of air. I'm just going to put it in second gear, let the motor just kind of idle. This will flush out any water or any air that's in the system all the way up to the hose reel, all 200 feet of the hose reel, all the way down the hole. You'll actually see it. It'll flow out of the top of the well, and then when we stop, you'll actually see some air bubbles that'll percolate up. You can flush the system to get all the air out of it. That way you don't send any air to my black tank while we're fracking. Yeah, there we go. So we got all these hoses to transfer water from that water truck over to this one. Since this truck is just a single axle, we have a weight limit and we can't haul but so much. So that's why we have to carry 2 trucks. If you were gonna build your own frack, all right, there's my water. If you were gonna build your own frack, the best thing to do is build it on a double axle truck. You're good. Okay, so we got all the water up, and see, check out all the air bubbles. See it? So that's what we're trying to get out of the system. All that has been injected down to about 85 foot, and now all the air's coming up. So you give it a minute to rest, let all the air come up, then we're gonna start inflating the packer. So this is your fluid, which is basically RV antifreeze. And this is the inflator pump. It's just a big giant 12-volt motor hooked to a pressure washer pump, is essentially that. And then we have a push button starter right here that engages the pump on and off. Valves closed, inflate, deflate. So we have it in inflate, and we watch our gauge, and we inflate the packer to 1500 PSI. As we're doing this, the level of fluid in that tank is going to start going down, and that fluid is what's swelling up inside that rubber packer down in the well. This little pump setup from Star Hydro is a little expensive, but it's the 3rd rendition that we've tried, and it's the one that I love the most. So if you build a frac unit, just contact Star Hydro and buy the stuff from them. It's a little pricey, but it'll pay for itself, and in my opinion, it's really reliable. It's purposely built. All right. So what it's doing now, that pressure is swelling up. So I don't want to instantly hit it all the way up to 1500. I want to let it swell and let the side walls of the rubber conform to the walls of the well. You don't want to sit there and hurry up and inflate it without giving it time to do what it needs to do. So I'm going to hit it about 3 or 4 times like this, and that pressure is going to slowly get up higher and higher and higher. A lot of times what I've recently realized is the higher the pressure, the packer will swell. I think it swells from the bottom up, and sometimes what that'll do is pull stress on this downpipe here. So this hydraulic hose, since it's flexible and somewhat pliable, it will stretch that little bit. But I think if you had like aluminum piping or steel piping or something like that, you'd actually have to give it just a smidge of slack. Because like I can go down on this just that little bit, and that little bit will help it not put so much load, you know, trying to rip it up from it stretching. I can't see what it's doing down there, so it's all hypothetical. All right, now I'm up at 1500. I'm gonna let it sit here for about 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and check it. And if it's down to about 1000 or 900, I'll hit the button again, bump it right back up to 1500, and then we'll frack. All right, I'm gonna give you all an up-close visual of the gauge, because that's really all that matters. All right, come around here and look at this gauge. That's what we look at. At about 80% throttle. So I've been flowing water for about 8 minutes there on that first run. You saw it go up to about 1100, drop down to about 650. So right now it's holding 450 psi in the hole. So I'm going to now release it. That's going to allow all the water that we just injected in the well to now flow in reverse back through the system. So we forced the plugged up sediment in the veins one direction, and now we're allowing it to flow back the other direction. This will also lower the pressure on the borehole to where when we start fracking again, it's not so high. I've actually noticed better results with doing it like this, with pumping it for like 10 minutes and then stopping, because like our tank will run out of water in about 10 minutes. So then when it does, I'll open up the valve, allow the pressure to equalize a little bit, allow the water in the veins, everything flow back the other direction. Then once the tank gets full, I'll basically just close the valve. We'll see how much pressure is in it. See, now it's down to 250, and then we'll start fracking again. But right now we're injecting water from that truck into this black tank, and it's already back to about 250 gallons. So we'll sit here for about 5 minutes, it'll fill back up, and then we'll hit it again. All right, so our tank's full. We put it back in third gear. I'm back at 80% throttle, and look at it's a little bit of a pressure drop from opening the valve. I think before it was around 675, and now look at it. even more, which means the veins have opened up even more. What I'm thinking about doing on this one, since I saw a vein at like 92 foot. That's why I put the packer at 85 foot, because I wanted to push on the vein at 92 foot. I'm gonna flow this 550 gallons of water, and then we're gonna stop. I'm gonna lower the packer down to about 140, 150 foot, and I'm gonna see if I can frack it again. If I frack it again, then I'll have higher pressures again on the second frack, and that means we busted 2 veins instead of just 1. That would be awesome if we could get 2. But realistically, the well probably makes a lot of water right now, like as is. It's probably already a 3 gallon a minute well if you were to test it. But, you know, we don't know. We don't have enough time to sit here, come back 3 weeks from now and test it. You cannot pump test the well directly after the frack. After you inject 3,000 gallons of water, you gotta wait like a month before you can come back and do an accurate pump test. So that's the 3rd time we've hit it. We've probably put 1,200 gallons in the well. I think I've got about another 1,000 gallons I can pump it. So right now it's going to give me some feedback, so it'll probably give me another 500 gallons back. We can push it back in the well. But we're going to try to lower the packer deeper to see if we can get another frack. But first, you have to drain all the pressure off the borehole. You cannot be jumpy and quick about it. You gotta let the pressure neutralize. So you open your valve. Right now you can even hear it hissing. The water's flowing through it at 100 psi, wide open. So it's still got a lot of backflow. If you were to try to rush and deflate your packer, it'd shoot the packer up out of the well. And we've done that before, decades ago, when we were learning. So don't rush. Always think about things, because you can cause big problems. All right, lunchtime. All right, it's been 10 minutes since we cut the system off and opened the valve. I just want to show you what happens if I close the valve. All right, valve is closed, no pressure. So if there was still, 75 or 100 psi, you'd want to keep it. All right, so now what we can do is go back here and we'll crack our valve. We'll let it listen to it. All right, watch our packer pressure. Packer down in the well is deflating. Okay, good. And then this tank is going to start elevating with fluid again. There we go. Opened it wide open. And she's going to start filling back up. Once it gets to the full mark, we can go ahead and start bringing the packer down and lowering it to the 150 or 160 or wherever I want to stop. Packer's completely deflated. We're going to go ahead now and send it on down. While we were eating lunch, Jackson decided he was going to stick his foot in a yellow jacket nest. Crazy. Oh, look, there's the hole right there. Check them out. Here.
Yeah, they stay flying around.
Yep.
As long as they stay
As long as they stay in
at that.
their lane, I'll stay in mine.
That's it.
But hell, we ain't but 15 feet off of them.
Yep.
All right, we've got it down to 150 foot in the well. So previously we were at 85 and now we are at 150. So my thought is maybe I was pushing on that spot around 92 foot, and if that is what took all the pressure, then when we frack it from this depth, the pressure should increase higher. But the likelihood of that being the case is only about a 15% chance, because before we were pressurizing from 85 foot down to the bottom, let's say 500 foot. Now we're pressurizing 150 foot down to the bottom. So if we get a second frack, that means the vein that we opened up was between 149 foot and 85 foot. The likelihood of that being the case is pretty slim to none. About 10 to 15% chance, realistically. Okay, everything's still flooded with water, so I don't have to do that. Let's go ahead and close this valve. Don't have to flow any water this time. Now we're just gonna inflate the packer again. I believe we'll be good to go. All right, I'm gonna begin to fire it up. If the pressure goes up above, say 650, 750, that means we have successfully got a second frac on this well. Well, it looks like lowering it down had some effect. Looks like it lifted the lid off the neighbor's well. Go ahead, slide it off. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Lifted it up, dude. That's crazy. Now look at that. I'm not even flowing water right now, and that's what's flowing out of it. That's insane. All right, we'll have to make sure that we don't break any of this plumbing. We'll just leave it off for right now.
All right, I seen that thing. That's so what?
Yeah, it lifted it. It lifted it. That's crazy. First time I've seen two wells connect in probably 10 or 15 years, but I knew it was possible. Especially when we came here and there's 3 wells within 50 feet of one another, the likelihood of that happening was pretty high. All right, I'm not gonna frack anymore because there's just no sense in it. We've already done what we needed, so we can turn that pump off. We can disconnect all this stuff, and we'll just let it sit. Because if we blew out of the neighbor's well on the second frack, then any more water is unnecessary. Well, that's probably my most commonly asked question. Can you blow water out of a neighbor's well? Yep. All right. Yeah, it's crazy. It was blowing out like 5 gallons a minute over there under pressure, lifting that seal up, and my valve was open the whole time. That was crazy. Because what I had just did, it started cavitating because we had basically ran it completely out of water. So I shut it off. And when I shut it off, I went ahead and opened the valve to get any possible air out of the system. Well, then Mike went over to turn the water pump back on to fill this back up. And when he looked over there, he saw the lid had lifted on the concrete thimble and water squirting out of the side of it. It's crazy. So we've already given ourselves back 350 gallons of water in that, 5-minute period of time, and it was still spraying water out of that well. Crazy, dude. Crazy. All right, you're all disconnected? All right. It won't have any negative effects on the neighbor's well. It'll just give them a little bit of like cloudy water for a day or two. But it is what it is. I'm honestly surprised I didn't see water sooner than this. But that's, I don't know. It's like it fracked, and then like all the other interconnecting veins were slowly getting flushed, and I was flowing so much water at such a high rate, it probably just kind of saturated the entire area, and then, they couldn't take any more, which is kind of good. So realistically, the neighbor's well is going to have a positive effect on what we did here. So hopefully this well will make 3 or 4 gallons a minute, and then the neighboring well somewhere in throughout the underground system of veins will be connected, and neither one of them should run out of water, honestly, at this point. Okie dokie. Well, gotta tell the customer that. That way they can keep an eye on it. One thing we're gonna have to do here is put in an inline filter. They do not have a filter system under this house. So we have to put in a filter. That's what we're gonna do next. All right, we've got the frack pulled out and the pump all put back in. And Jackson's going to get me some chlorine so we can add some more chlorine to it.
Whole bag or half bag?
Half a bag. We don't want to run her out of it. That's good. Okay. She's still heavy as all get out. Lord have mercy. We got the pump all put back in, wellheads all hooked up, wires hooked up, and I went ahead and put a union right there. Now we're going to go under the house, and before we turn the system on, we're going to plumb in a inline water filter. All right, we're back under the house, and I would call this a very, very budget-friendly system, because your incoming water goes here, and they tee off to feed the house, and it goes to the tank into a boiler drain. So it's all done probably as cheap as possible. Even the pressure switch is sitting on galvanized, not stainless or brass. So most of the time nowadays you stay away from galvanized fittings, and I typically tell people to stay away from from fiberglass tanks. But I don't know, it hasn't been in that long. It's been in what, 5-6 years? So it still tests okay. But we've got to cut the CPVC out, and I'll probably mount the filter here. We'll just come up and over, go up to the filter, and then bring it back over and tie it back into the plumbing. And just like that, video magic, filter is installed. So I just basically went down there and took the CPVC completely out, went up, over, up, mounted it to it, put me a valve here and a Shark Bite 90, and we're good to go. So only thing I've got to do now is pull my paper out, and now the pump's going to run. So it should instantaneously give me water. It does. Okay, I'll shut that off. Put the lid back on. Let's go ahead and open the valve. Okay. Check for leaks around. Nope, nothing's leaking. Now I can turn the house on. Good deal, Lucille. No drippy drips. So right now the water's really clean. I've got the faucet running outside, but we should get like dirty water, murky water here in a minute. Hey, go ahead, leave it on for a minute. Because right now we've got about 350 feet from here to the house, or from here to the well. So it's got 350 feet of pipe that's full of water, and that's just the old water. So I theoretically, yep, here it comes. There was my air and my connection. That's what I wanted to get out. I wanted to get out all that air. Couple pine needles. Yep, it's already dirty in the filter. Check that out. Cool. Let's do this. Okay, got any water out of the can? Or any air? Good deal. Okay. I'm happy with that. Let's pick all this up. Ain't the cleanest of environments, but it's good. Alright. What? Come here. Come on. You happy, Chappy? Alright, well, we're done for the day, and heading back to the shop now. I talked to the homeowner and let her know everything. That way she can talk to the neighbors and tell them. But she said the house next door is more of like a rental Airbnb, and she said that they've never had issues of running out of water, apparently. Now, one they're all within such a close range, let's just say they're all being fed off of a similar source. If one of those 3 houses has a water leak, theoretically it could like suck the entire area dry. Now, only the house that we were working for is a full-time home. Each house on either side of her is a secondary home, so no one's there. I doubt they shut the water off on those homes. So that's something that I told her that she may need to talk to those, owners of those homes, just to make sure that there's not a leak somewhere and her neighbor's actually wasting water and it affects her more frequently. But either way, we got a good frack, went up to about 1100, dropped down to about 650. So should be a good 2.5, 3.5 gallon minute well. But I told her, shouldn't have any issues, and if there is, told her give me a call. But ones like that, they just work, Fracking is just such a high success rate that one like that is rare to blow into the neighbor's well. But it's something I've always had questions from y'all as the viewer. Can you connect to the neighboring well? Yep, you can, and you saw it here. Well, I'll go ahead and end the video. Got about an hour and 20-minute drive. I'll see y'all on the next one.